Shalom, shalom, Chawal, Baba Kwa, call all Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All praise and glory and honor to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakahakudash. Double honors to my apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Shalom to the whole fillet and the elect lady and your children. And I got a video here I want to play. I want you to listen to. It's the George Galloway channel, and which I'm subscribed to because he comes out with some good information. And as you can see, this is Colonel Douglas McCrager, and I want you to listen to what he about to say, and then we get some scriptures.
And we're going to watch Israel be destroyed day after day after day. In other words, the world is going to be turned upside down. Everything that we've supposedly...
Yeah, and the world is about to turn upside down because we at the end of Esau's empire. Everything is about to turn upside down.
...worked for decades will be lost. Now, in the long run, this is a damn good thing for us. We need to get out of these places. We need to come home. And we haven't even talked about the potential for really bad things to happen inside the United States.
You hear what he just said? Let's go back a little bit.
Get out of these places. We need to come home. And we haven't even talked about the potential for really bad things to happen inside the United States. Set aside the very likely financial meltdown that is coming. As soon as we start to lose troops, men, people, ships.
Yeah, and the financial meltdown is coming, and also the potential threat. You remember back when Biden was president, man, how he allowed all these different migrants to come across that border, man. And again, this is all theater. It's a big show because all hell will break loose because this is what the elites want. All right, they've done what they have to do with America. If they used it up, and this is where we at the end. There's a potential threat, and we've been tapping on that for months, even a year or so too, touching on the sleeper cells because they're here. Let's listen to this. Oh man, what the hell?
So while leaving church yesterday, I was.
That's IUIC, man. Salaka for that. Here we go.
Yes, that issue particularly. How many Iranians are in the country that are in sleeper cells?
Come on. Where's the
do
volume
bad to
at?
America right now?
Well, look, you and I have talked about this many times. I said the last 4 years, my biggest concern was this open border was the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. So I pulled numbers this morning just from a CBP under Joe Biden. There was 1,272 nationals of Iran released in the country between OFO and the Border Patrol. And you compare that to the Trump administration, zero, right? Zero releases. And right now, because of President Trump's leadership, we have the most secure border in my lifetime, most secure border in the history of this nation. So we have a secure border. That was President Trump's big win on securing this nation. So we're not releasing people in this country. Special interest aliens aren't crossing that border undetected. But under Joe Biden, we had over 10 million people cross that border. But my biggest concern from day one, beyond the fentanyl, beyond the sex trafficking of women and children, were the 2 million known gotaways. Over 2 million people crossed that border. We don't know who they are, where they came from, because they got away, because Border Patrol is so overwhelmed with the humanitarian crisis that Biden created, that over 2 million people crossed the border and got away.
Hey, so you got about 2 million, and this is Tom Homan. He's the new guy for the U.S. border. And now these devils are worried because anything can happen now. The potential threats, anything can happen. You got over 2 million gotaways. That's what they're calling them. And you don't know who the hell is up in here. And you got them. They here. They trust me. They here. And this is why all hell gonna break loose. Something gonna happen. Gonna be a false flag, some psyop, you know, a terrorist attack. You know, this is where we're heading, man. That's why I got the scripture. Let me and I want you to listen to let me see where we at. Where we at? 2nd Ezra 15. All right, verse 16. I'm gonna go right to the point. For there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes in the course of their actions. Should stand in their power, man. There's gonna be martial law. It's gonna be all hell breaking loose. You know, the people gonna be uproaring. And then you got the lone wolves and the sleeper cells. All right? This is what's coming, man. Things gonna get real crazy out here. You know? You're gonna have the race wars, yeah. You're gonna have civil wars, food wars, class wars. You know? And then you're gonna have the attacks. They're gonna get activated. You got mercenaries, you got lone wolves, you got sleeper cells. They're here. We got over 2 million that got away. They call them the Gotoways. You know, let me see if I can find something on that. The Gotoways. U.S. border. Gotoways at the U.S. border refers to individuals who are detected crossing the border illegally by U.S. Customs and Border Protection, but are not apprehended. These individuals evade capture and are not processed under immigration laws, man. There you go. They call them the Gotoways, man. All right? You know? Some old, let's see right here. What's this? New York Post. Right? Illegal migrant gotaways at border plummet 95% from Biden administration high as Trump cracks down. All right? There you go. The gotaways. They're here, man. It's gonna get crazy out here, man, brothers. That's why we gonna need the Lord. You know, let's go here real quick. Let me see something, if I can find something. You right? All right. Let's go to Matthew 12. Bear with me too. It's still early in the morning and I barely got any sleep. I'm just trying to push myself to do this lesson. Let me see. Salaki, brother, Salaki. Matthew 12. All right, let's go here. All right, yep. All right, and this is the Pharisees. The Lord stay confounding these wicked Pharisees. Matthew 12 and 24. But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, This fellow doeth not cast out devils, but by Beelzebub, the prince of the devils. And Yahushua knew their thoughts, and said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How should then his kingdom stand? And that's America. That's Babylon the Great. It's not going to stand. First, you got a division among these Edomites. Then you're going to have these sleeper cells. You're going to have the civil wars. The people going, people going to turn up. The people about to turn up, man. We in that time. You know? We're here, brothers. You know? And can't get around it. Second Ezra 13. You know? Let's get right to the point. 31. And we've been reading this, and we're gonna keep reading this, because this is the time we in. And one shall overtake the fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another, man. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen, which I showed thee before. And then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest, as a man ascending, man. That's it, man. You know, let's go to 2 Ezra 9. Verse 1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that is the very same time wherein the highest we begin to visit the world which he made. And these are the signs we're watching. You know, there's so many things going on the earth right now. You can't keep up with everything, but we're here. And it's so much, because that's the Lord visiting this place, man. The signs are everywhere. And this situation with these sleeper cells, you know, it's real. Let's listen to and then we're going to close out.
That is my biggest concern, and that's what created the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen.
And you have that on surveillance, seeing people get away. Do you have a sense of where they went?
No, you know, intelligence community under President Trump has been on this since day one. What gives me any comfort at all is that you don't have Christopher Wray there, you got Kash Patel there. You don't have Alejandro Mayorkas there anymore, you got Kristi Noem, and you certainly don't have Kamala Harris as a border czar. So President Trump brought a great team, been on this since day one. Do we know where every one of the 2 million are? No. We don't know who they all are. We don't know why they're here, where they came from. But we do know
and that's what worried Salaka. And that's what worried these devils. Cause they here, man. They here. And they don't know what could happen. You know, but they know this is what's gonna happen, man. Something big gonna happen, man. Something huge. You know, and that may be the turning point, you know, for that MOTB. You know, because they're gonna have to try to implement that as an executive order mandatorily that you must take for security reasons to be able to identify who you are, you know, because they can't identify everybody here. We got over 2 million gotaways, man. This thing about to turn up, brothers. Shalom.